speaking.
Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live. Basically, you know how this works. With these videos, it's pretty typical. You get about 5 to 7 minutes to ask a question. I answer them for free. They're usually about Social Security disability law. I'm the most viewed, subscribed to, clicked on disability attorney in America. With that said, please remember, do not stack your questions. 1 question, 2 questions, fine, not additionals. Don't go into story mode. Have your legal question right up front. Also, as you're going through the process, try to stay on point with your specifics. All right, we've got the first caller already on the phone. Good sir, what is your legal question? Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is Dynamo, and I applied 6 months ago for disability. I was 61 years old and retired, and I got denied after a few months on a technicality, and I had a law firm appeal it. And 3 months later, I was awarded a letter of approval. And my question to you, sir, is there is no ears in the letter other than just amounts of back pay and what my monthly thing will amount will be. If there's nothing about like a review, is that mean that there is no review for me in the future, or is it every 2 years, every 5 years, or is because I applied at so late in life at 61 that they just figure they don't need to?
No. So sometimes the judges will order a review every 12 months, every 3 years, whatever, and it will show up inside the brief. Sometimes they don't. The SSA has you on a clock, a calendar, and that basically after a certain amount of time, based off of the likelihood of your improvement, you will be reviewed. Now, it used to be that people over 55 wouldn't get reviewed. Then it became 58, 59, 60. Then it was 63. And now they're reviewing people who are basically on disability benefits all the way up to essentially their FRA, full retirement age. So what you can do is call the local field office and ask them when your next review date will actually be. And they'll have it in their system as to what your next CDR review date will be. But remember, they start to pull your file and work on it about 3 months before that actual date. However, also remember, they're about to have not a lot of employees. So, your review date may get put off. And remember, that backlog of claimants was at 1.12 million. It's probably grown since then. So the bottom line is, I think there's going to be a lot of CDRs right now because that's President Trump's agenda to, review people, see if there's frauders, etc. But I do believe that basically they're going to have to go ahead and move a lot of people that are doing the CDRs back to processing the initial filing backlog because it is building and building quickly.
Okay, thank you so much, and I really appreciate all the information that you put out there. Thank you again.
Thank you, good sir. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're going to grab the next caller. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hi, Walter. Thank you for taking my call. I'm calling. My husband has applied. He was on SSDI. He has applied for the EXR benefits, if I have that term correct. And his medical history, his current medical has changed.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he went over the SGA.
Okay.
And so we called them and they said, you've gone over, and kind of left it blanket. So we're kind of in limbo. And my ultimate question for you is, should we go ahead and just reapply for benefits, just kind of like starting from fresh? Because I'm pretty sure they're probably going to turn him down, seeing how he did go over the SGA so much. He was disabled for about 10 years. He had an infusion treatment for gout, and it helped him a lot, and he was able to go back to work. Unfortunately, it didn't last. And so he went back to work for about 2 years, but he went way over the limit of what you could make. And so what's your answer on that one?
So basically, he went through the 9-month trial work period. He went through the 3-month extended eligibility period. Why didn't he go on to the Ticket to Work program?
I don't even know that we were aware of that.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean,
he did call them when he went back to work. Yeah. He did call and told them he was back at work and everything. We've tried to do everything by the book on the up and up, but I don't know that we were even aware of that.
Okay, he should have gone on the Ticket to Work program, but bottom line is this: he would be eligible very likely in this sense because, it's within the 5-year period. It was a result of working, SGA violation, yada, yada. So, I mean, yeah, bottom line is he should have gone on to the Ticket to Work program and had the protection of the 5 years, and if he failed on that, then he would then basically go back to disability benefits with some restrictions, etcetera. But bottom line is this, yeah, no, it's one of those situations where, he should apply for an EXR to try and get a reinstatement. If he does run into some caveat where they find it that he falls outside of the elements, which, I only have general information here, so I can't be perfect on this stuff. But bottom line is this: he should shoot for EXR. If there's an issue, then he'll go back to a regular filing. But he should try. Now, are his impairments similar to what they were before? Or are they like different impairments?
They're actually the same and plus some. He's had 3 heart attacks. He has bone erosion from gout. He has a AAA repair and in need of another one. Bad back and bad hip. It's a lot.
Okay. Okay.
He did apply. He called them and asked them about one more question. He called them and asked them about provisional benefits, and he sent in his W-2s with his paperwork, and they said, "Well, you make too much money." Well, I mean, in January he did, in February he did not, and he has no income now. And he was actually in the hospital, and his employer let him go. So, will that change the course of the provisional benefits since he doesn't have any income now?
Well, I mean, the expectation is that he can't be receiving benefits going forward if he's over SGA. And if he's close to SGA, let's say he's not earning, let's say he's earning $14,000 or $1,400 a month, then obviously they use that as an adjudication to see what's actually going on with his capabilities. Now, was he working for somebody as an employer, or was he was he working for somebody? Okay, so he was an employee essentially.
Yes, and he was a plumber, so that job was really hard on him. And he had the cystectomy fusion, and it helped him greatly. That's why he went back to work, and his gout's come back worse than ever.
Okay.
So he'll never be able to make that money doing anything other than plumbing. I mean, that's not going to happen. So that's why we're kind of in limbo, not really knowing what to do here.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, if he's not earning money, that's going to help the EXR situation. Because remember, they look at earning capacity of the individual, because disability benefits through the 5-step sequential process, whether or not the individual can do their past relevant work or relevant transferable skilled work, unskilled work, or semi-skilled work. So in his case, if he can't do that job, okay. One thing that would be not a bad thing to have for this type of claim is a vocational assessment. They have individuals that write up a vocational assessment to say what types of jobs somebody could potentially do in the national economy based on the dictionary of occupational titles. If you had that to show that there's no other jobs in the national economy that he could potentially do, then that helps provide that he meets element 4, element 5 of the traditional 5-step. But of course, in this case, they're likely to use the 8-step sequential when reviewing essentially his old impairments, new impairments, old jobs, new potential jobs, etc.
Gotcha. How do we go about getting a vocational assessment?
So look up vocational experts for Social Security, or look up vocational experts, dictionary of occupational titles, and see who you can find that can write up a report about his limitations.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and much luck to your dog Shadow.
Thank you. Well, we just spoke with we just spoke with Georgia. Georgia looks like it's the place with the animal hospital there. Florida rejected him, too small of a dog. North Carolina rejected him, too small of a dog. So it looks like Georgia's going to be the place. I have to drive in April up to Georgia. It's like an 8-hour drive. And then we're going to do our first meeting, which is where they just look at him, decide if they want to take him on as a patient. And then basically from there, it'll be one of those situations where I go up there for the surgery, and then I have to go up there a couple, like 4 or 5 more times thereafter for therapy and review. And so you're going to be seeing me do some real cross-country driving, because where Florida to Georgia is actually like Georgia's a tall state. So yeah, but yeah, so yeah, but
absolutely. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. So a real quick shout out to Royalty on here, or Princess Diana. Basically, she made a donation of $5 on the prior video, and I super appreciate that. That's awesome. Also, Kosher, thank you for the $1.49 donation. Kosher, catch up with me on Thursday. Tomorrow I work with the homeless, so if you guys want to catch up with me, I'm not going to be on phones tomorrow because I work with the homeless. However, on Thursday I will be. But Kosher, I did work on some of the things so that we are pretty much set to go with details on that thing that we were talking about. So, anyways, we're going to look for any additional callers coming in. Tara, Denise, thank you for the $49 donation. I super appreciate that. Thinking about Shadow, I really appreciate that. So basically, Shadow, who's sleeping right there, he has a back right leg issue where he's going to need total hip replacement, which is where they go in. And so if you look at like the leg, there's like, this thing going on, right? Ball joint. And they go ahead and cut off the ball. And then they put this giant metal rod thing into the bone. And then basically that thing has its own little ball structure that fits into this capped area on the top. And then basically you have to do a bunch of therapy, but he's not able to walk on his back right leg. And it's just getting worse. And what sucks about it is that just to get in to see them about this, you have to wait like a month and a half just to be able to go do the first appointment where they review the dog just to see if Shadow can be taken on as a patient. So, and then after that, you have to wait 2 months for them to schedule that, that dog in to go ahead and actually get the surgery. So it's a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, it just is what it is. But if Georgia comes back and says, no, then I'm going to be looking at the private practices who could potentially go ahead and take him on to do the surgery, because we can't have Shadow walking on 3 legs all the time. So it's just, it's not going to work. So with that said, I'm going to wait and see if there's any additional callers. I know it's late. It's 12:40 a.m. I know I have to wake up early to go to the homeless office tomorrow. Are there any questions for me in here? Oh, another caller. Hold on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We're live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hi. I have 2 disabled sons.
Okay.
And one is clearly has schizophrenia.
Okay.
And the other one has a different disability. But not as severe.
Okay.
And he was thinking about getting a driver's license.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure whether that would hurt benefit.
Okay. So real quick, driver's licenses kind of fall into the same category as individuals who are getting some sort of certificate. So, when you think about like certificates, it's like, cutesy, smaller academia programs, stuff like that. Well, a driver's license is like its own permit, its own certificate, its own security clearance. And so, yeah, if he didn't have that before, now he's able to achieve that, is a potential bullet point that could be used against him to say that he's no longer disabled. However, how old is the child currently?
He's 29, but he doesn't even have a permit yet or anything. I don't even know if he'll make it, but I just wanted to, figure out options.
If he gets a driver's license, what's his intent with it? Is it to go get a job? Is it to go get a certificate, a degree? What's the intent?
Probably just to go grocery shopping. Okay.
So, yes, they can use that against him. Should you restrict him from getting a driver's license? No, you should let him try. You know what I mean? Okay, so you said one of them has schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. I couldn't remember which. I think it was schizophrenia. What was the other impairment for the other? And the 29-year-old, what are his top 3 impairments?
I can't even remember anymore, but he's like severely manic depressive.
Okay. So, is he going to the doctor on a regular basis? Does he have any crisis medical treatment inpatient at facilities or no?
Actually, they're both in a facility here where they have a prescriber and an apartment based on income and a worker.
Okay, so they're in a facility that's meant for individuals that have mental impairments.
Yes.
Okay, so in that case, he can get a license. It's not going to destroy his claim, but they can ultimately, if they want to go after him, remove his benefits using bullet points to show he has improved. Now, remember, there's like a written, a visual, an actual driving test. So, when they go through that, that's going to provide some benchmarks as to his abilities. You know what I mean? So just kind of keep that in mind. Yeah.
And then I know when I was applying for benefits for them 10 years ago or longer, I saw a guy, he was disabled and he got a car, and Social Security found out that the value of the car, and he lost his benefits like right there and then.
That's only if you had 2 cars. Yeah. Number 1 car is allowable on SSI benefits. I'm assuming the 2 children have never worked in their life.
Actually, the one with schizophrenia actually held a job for a year.
Mhm.
And but I mean, I don't think he can function ever again, or I'm not sure. And I don't see that happening. But it's weird because the 29-year-old, he, they basically told me they deem him disabled for life. Whereas my son with the schizophrenia, that really has a lot harder problem navigating around people, and depending on if he's at his baseline or not. To me, he's clearly he's the one that should have got bypassed the reviews and been deemed disabled for life. It's almost like it worked out the opposite. Seems like, but I was lucky to get them on. Like, I started with one son, and it took me a year. I did it by myself, but I kept a lot of documentation.
So, I mean, look, and I know you're playing the part of mom saying, I want them to, and I want to overwatch and I want to helicopter this thing and make sure their benefits remain. And that's a good thing. But remember too, choices that they make in life as they get older and older and older, they might improve, they might decrease in their, abilities. But at some point, you know what I mean, they're probably going to be reviewed. And I don't just mean in the sense of one's good, one's bad. It's just that the program is evolving every year towards a more aggressive review standard because, the United States government can't afford its people. If the United States government could afford its people, right, it could afford these programs for its people. But as you've noticed, we are 36, what is it, like 0.5 trillion in debt, and we lose a trillion something per year. Like, we just can't afford SSI, we can't afford SSDI, we can't afford retirement. And people argue that we can afford retirement and SSDI benefits because, they're paid for by future generations. It's the classic Ponzi scheme design. It's a good Ponzi scheme. There's not a lot of them, but it's a good one. The problem we have is that my generation, younger generations, the classic existence of getting married and, like the religious push to make her a decent woman and make him a good, honest man, that kind of stuff. That doesn't really exist anymore. The settle down and have kids theory. So what's happening is people are having to work a lot more to afford their student loans and be able to survive with like an apartment. And so the whole idea of having somebody else there, like, it's blinders because they need to earn enough money to pay for the stuff. They got to pay for the student loans. They got to pay for their apartment. The apartment's super expensive. They never have any money. They're depressed all the time. They can't go on vacations. So what's happening is when people say retirement and disability should have enough money to pay for itself, yeah, if our politicians weren't shitheads, you're right. But unfortunately, we've created a culture where people don't make kids anymore. And there's been this depopulation agenda of pretty much most nations. And unfortunately, the way they're trying to fix that is by the country who gets to, create the most immigrants that turn into citizens that are good working people that pay taxes wins. The only kicker to that is that we're in $36 trillion worth of debt. And I don't know if that's capable of being paid back in this generation, So.
Yeah, I'll be lucky. I don't know if I could either.
Yeah. But,
Well, I appreciate the information.
Absolutely. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. A real quick shout out to Tara. Real quick, she did Denise a $9.99 donation. She said, sorry to repeat, but it breaks my heart about Shadow. It breaks my heart too, because Shadow is technically the baby of the family, albeit he is the oldest dog. My sister has a greyhound. I have chubby Sweetie, and I have little Shadow. And Sweetie is like 90 pounds. And I had to get Sweetie as a female dog with Shadow because Shadow is way too rough with smaller female dogs. So I had to get like a bruiser type dog for Shadow that he couldn't push around. And so as a result, Sweetie, although Sweetie was never meant to be 90 pounds, Sweetie was supposed to be based off of her breed, sisters, cousins, grandmas and stuff like that. She was supposed to be around like 65 to 70 pounds. Although the kicker is I fed her too much and I get yelled at every time I go to the vet with that. And as a result, yada, 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 she's 90 pounds. So she at a healthy weight would be 80 pounds. But she's 90 pounds. So it is, she's a big girl. But Shadow is not overweight. He's got a little belly to him, but not much. And it's just a sad because he can't walk right. You know what I mean? Whenever you see him walk, he's walking in 3 legs and he's kind of holding that leg up. He's afraid to put it down because it causes him pain. I have him on pain medication. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it's just, and it's just a weird thing. Like this surgery, getting a total hip replacement, they do it on humans all the time, but getting total hip replacement for dogs is, you need not just a regular surgeon, you need like a specialist surgeon. And all they do for the most part is that one surgery over and over and over again on different dogs. Like it is that difficult of finding somebody to take Shadow. I have to travel 8 hours just to get to a surgeon that can actually work on him. So I super appreciate the $10 donation because it is a very, very expensive, spicy situation. And also, what's not great about it too is like total hip replacement. I mean, that is months and months of recovery. And if something goes wrong, it can go real wrong. It can be extra surgeries wrong. It can just be real wrong. So that is kind of the issue with it. But with that said, I'm going to see if there's any additional callers. Let me see if there's any any questions in the chat section. Let me see what we got here. Okay, so let's see what we got. Yeah, Shadow's only 7 years old, so I mean he shouldn't be having these issues, but he is. So it just kind of is what it is. He doesn't exactly have a hard life. He sleeps on the couch. He goes and hangs out outside. I mean, he doesn't. Nothing's really pushing him around. So it's what it is. Let's see what we got here. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and count down from 10. If we don't have any additional callers within that 10-second period, then I'm going to end the video early and go to bed and basically, wake up, go to the homeless office. Now, remember, on Wednesdays, I work with the homeless at the homeless office and make sure that, kind of they require a lot more assistance. They're the more expensive claims because they're mostly SSI claims. You only make, where other firms make $9,000 on a claim, these claims make like 3-4 grand after 3 to 4 years. And they require a lot more attention and they're constantly on different phones. So you can't get a hold of them because they lose one, sell one. Next caller, hold on. Speaker is on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. And remember to go ahead and mute the computer that has the video playing on your end so that we talk directly through the phone. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead and mute the YouTube video on your end, and then we'll just talk directly through the phone. But what is your legal question? Go ahead.
Okay. I've been on disability for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, I was 66 going on 67.
Mm-hmm.
Am I on Social Security or am I on Social Security disability?
Well, if you're 66 going on 67, you're in the transition period. So basically, it could be 66 and 9 months, 66 and 7 or 8 or 10 months, whatever it is for your age, right? When you go to that age calculators to when your full retirement age is, your FRA, then you'll transition from SSDI benefits over to retirement because SSDI benefits do not go past FRA. So the moment you get to your FRA, your full retirement age, because remember, there's early retirement at 62, full retirement at 66 and so many months, or 67, which is what we're going to end up on, or max retirement at 70. But SSDI benefits end, disability benefits end, traditional disability Title II benefits end at your full retirement age.
Oh, okay. And now I have another question.
Sure.
Because I receive funding
Mm-hmm.
for the child that lives with me.
Okay.
Because he's disabled.
Okay.
They're counting it as income, even though it's listed as non-taxable income.
So wait, your child's getting SSI, right?
He gets SSI because he has a lot of medical issues. And the money that I receive to make sure he gets to his appointments and he gets his medication and he's on special diets, is what pays for that. Because his insurance and his deductible are very expensive. He needs an EEG to monitor his seizures. That's $1,000.
And some of these doctors that I have to take him to, they're almost $1,000.
Okay, so
and that's the money that I receive is what I'm using to cover those fees.
Mhm.
And so how do I get around that? If they're trying to say that I'm using it, that I'm claiming that I have income coming in, that I'm working, well, how can I be working when it's in my own house and the child I claim?
So, I mean, that's one of the things. Usually the child's SSI benefits are not able to be used against you as a form of income. They do have some caveats, which is like if the child lives with you, and some of those details create a situation where they can use it against you. They also have the 1/3 reduction rule, which is basically where the child's benefits, are reduced as a result of things that are provided by the parent. But the one which is called the in-kind support maintenance rule, or we call it the 1/3 reduction rule. But if you look it up, it's the in-kind support maintenance rule. So the bottom line here, I guess what I'm getting at is, yes, they have some caveats. You probably fall into one of them as to this situation. Are they counting all the child's benefits as income, or just part of them?
Well, no, they're counting mine. He's my grandson. He doesn't. He's on his own. And
how old is this child?
He just turned 18.
Okay, so he's on his own.
He has autism. He has a lot of other medical issues.
But real quick, he's just turning 18. So did you? Okay, so
No, I don't have him legally.
yeah, there you go.
He has a father, but
Yeah.
his father moved out on him when he was 8.
All right, so you've got to go research what's called in-kind support and maintenance, and because he's renting now from you. Like he's got to pay his $350 worth of rent to you to not have a reduction in his own benefits. But to consider, you're saying that they considered your benefits as a form of income against his benefits?
Well, I get what they call in California in-home support service.
Okay.
Because that's what he qualifies.
Okay.
For someone, because he needs someone in the house and to monitor and make sure he's getting to his appointments. He's make sure that he gets his medication and all his doctors and therapies, because it has a lot of therapies. One therapy is $120 a week, and the insurance won't cover it.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that in-home support money that I get, I use that to, maintain my car, even though it has over 200,000 miles on it. But that's what maintains my car. The appointments are 80 miles away for that one that I do every week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's $120 a week. That's one therapy. That's not counting all the other things that I do. That's what I use the money for.
Well,
how do I get around that and convince Social Security is not earn income?
Well, okay, so impairment-related work expenses, or what we call earways, or what you would, if your medical insurance is not covering something and you got this like repetitive cost that you have to pay for, go study up on impairment-related work expenses, or because I mean, so you're saying that you have a bunch of medical stuff that Medicare is not covering, right?
That his insurance doesn't cover.
Wait, doesn't cover for you, or that you're paying for his medical?
I have my own. What's a long story though?
Simplify this for me, just real quick. You're saying that his Medicaid is he getting SSI or SSDI?
He gets SSI and he gets Medicaid, but his father has him under his insurance through his job.
Okay, so all right, so basically he's super covered.
With me. Dad don't live with him. He lives with me. He's been with me since he was 8.
All right,
he's been with me since he was 10 months, but basically since Dad left, he's been with me since 8. And so, but I was already on Social Security disability, and I've been on it for a number of years.
Let me jump in, because again, this is a lot of information. Some of it's not making sense to me. So he's super covered. He's got Medicaid and private insurance to cover his medical costs. So are you saying that some of the things he has for treatment on his medical side aren't being covered, or are you saying some of the things that you have for treatment?
They don't get covered. They don't pay for the vision therapies. They don't pay for the other
So then his
therapies.
SSI benefits are supposed to go towards that. The accounting of you claiming yours. Okay, so then.
But his his food is expensive because he can't eat that food. And then the other therapies he has to go to.
So do you
they're very
work?
expensive.
Do you work or
I
no?
don't. No.
Okay, so there's no work income. So you're claiming that you have expenses.
I get.
No, I
get
gotcha. Okay.
I get Social Security disability before he was born. I've been on Social Security disability. He was born in 2007. I've been on Social Security disability since 2000 for the last 20 years. And then he ended up in my home. And so over the years, I started getting assistant to help me cover the expenses of him living in my house because his SSI doesn't cover all the expenses. And then he's asthmatic. I had to keep that air conditioner running full speed ahead because to filter the air. And then he has air machines inside the house to filter the air because because he has asthma.
All right. So real quick, what is your legal question though?
Okay, how do I get around with Social Security saying that I am working, calling it working, and that I am going to be penalized for working? And I'm thinking,
are you actually working though?
No.
Okay, so are you claiming that through California that you're upkeeping the child and getting, receiving income as a result of upkeeping the child through California?
It's you can in California you can if the child receives SSI, he's disabled and gets SSI, he also qualifies for in-home support services. So people can come in the house.
But are they paying you?
Help him.
Are they paying
They're
you?
paying because he lives. Yes.
So okay, all right. We wiggled around that for quite a bit there. So they're paying you to do services for the child.
Yeah.
All right. You should have said that in the first sentence. There was a lot of wiggle there.
No. I thought I was saying it, but
all right.
I didn't understand how to say it.
So you're saying they're attributing, you actually physically working for the upkeep of the child as income.
Yes.
I mean, is that not what it is?
It covers my expenses for him being in my house.
Well, no, I mean, that's not what it's used. That the intent of it, because remember, he has to pay a portion of his benefits to you. Otherwise, they're going to reduce his benefits under the in-kind support maintenance rule. So, I mean, now that he's not a child anymore, now he's an 18-pluser, and he's not in school anymore, right?
No, he's still in school.
Okay, so then maybe that'll push out to 19 or potentially 22, where the rules will allow him still to be considered kind of like a kid. But bottom line is, all right. So to be fair, you have to account for what the accounting is actually going towards. Saying that you receive money from California to take care of him by being basically like an at-home nurse-oriented person that's paid by California to take care of him, and that money only really helps with his medical expenses. That's not an accounting, like you can't jump that line. Like you're connecting dots that they don't see inside their system. You're making income to take care of the child. To claim that now you can try and say that the child's expenses are this. You can approach California to try and get a higher because remember, California is one of the states that gives you a boosted amount of benefits if you're on SSI. But to be fair,
I'm not on SSI.
No, he is on SSI. So
he is.
But
his what he received doesn't cover his medical expenses at all.
All right. So to answer here, you do have a literal job on behalf of the state.
Okay.
So
So I can either. What's the maximum amount of money that I can make that still keeps me safe?
Well, I mean, you're never going to be really safe right next to the maximum. So, I mean, realistically, are you asking me what the maximum is, and then also what is like the safe amount? So the maximum is $1,620 unless you're a blind individual, and then it's $2,700. But the bottom line is, to be safe, like $1,100, $1,200 ish per month, earning that But you know, the other side of the coin is you also have your 9-month and your 3-month, 9-month trial work period, 3-month extended eligibility period that you can utilize. So, you know, to be fair here, like you have some test months, you got 12 months of test months that you can use. But at the same time, you know, look, if you want to earn more money, all right, I'm going to ask one question and I got to go. And then actually, it's going to be a last call for the night because it took me a little while to figure out what you were kind of getting at there. Is you're in California. Is this a situation where the expenses in California are just ridiculously high and you can maybe move to a different part of California? Or is this a situation where like you're already in a cheap area?